We have 10 people for it.
Today's lunch is sponsored by Mr. Gertz, his mother. You heard this divided about Gershon Beryl. Okay, so this week's Parshas EMOR, and in the middle of Parshas EMOR, it speaks about a mitzvah which we're in the middle of doing right now, Sfiras Omer. I know everybody's heard a lot about Sfiras Omer in the past couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of minutes. But as you know, Torah is very big, and there's always a lot to add on. So we're going to add on some more stuff about Sfiras Omer. So first I'd like to go to the Pasuk where it speaks about Sfiras Omer. So the Pasuk says, "Usfartu lechem b'machos haShabbos, v'yom havi'achem as Omer atnufa sheva Shabbos timim ha'istiyena." In the Pasuk, we all know, we'll get to it soon, that Sfiras Omer is from when Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim. They counted up to Matan Torah, and they counted 49 days, and the 50th day is Matan Torah, and that's why we count Sfira. If you look in the Psukim, it doesn't say anything about Sfira. It has anything to do with Yetzias Mitzrayim. It has nothing to do with Matan Torah. And there's even a question, if the Yidden in the Midbar, did they count Sfiras Omer? Says the Pasuk, "Usfartam lechem b'machos haShabbos, v'yom havi'achem et Omer atnufa." When did you start counting Sfiras Omer? Why is it called Sfiras HaOmer? What does Omer have to do with anything? Because they started counting Sfira when? The first day Chalamoid, the second day of Pesach, and on that day they happened to have brought a carbon Omer. What's the carbon Omer? The carbon Omer was a carbon they brought, and you weren't allowed to eat. Whether it's negated today or not is a whole different shmooze. But you weren't allowed to eat from the new grains that grew from last year Pesach until this year Pesach. That means the grain that started growing last year after Pesach. You're not allowed to eat from that grain. Then it was cut down Sukkot's time, and they may have processed it already.
That's the Indian of Yasha.
Right, that's the Indian of Yasha and Chadash. So in those days, you were not allowed to eat from the grain that grew last year Pesach until they brought the carbon Omer this year Pesach. So you could have lots of grains piled up.
But midbar, no grain.
We'll get to the midbar in a second. So, and that's why today is the whole shaila about some people makbid on Yashar and they're not makbid on Yashar. What is your makbid on it? If you hold that even these days you're not allowed to eat Yashar, so you have to wait till after. You're not allowed to eat the Chadash. You have to wait till after the first day Chalamoid or the second day Pesach in Chutz La'aretz, and then you're allowed to start eating from the new grain, even though there's no carbon. But you have to at least wait till that day passes, and then you're allowed to eat from the new grain. So the question is today. The Chutz La'aretz is there a din, as Yisrael is there a din. Maybe a different time we'll go into the whole machlokes about it. But at least in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, you were not allowed to eat from the new grain until after they brought the carbon Omer.
Only in the Yisrael, but.
Even Chutz La'aretz. Yeah, it's a question of Chutz La'aretz. Yeah. Even Chutz La'aretz, a lot of people are makbid not to eat.
I know, but then I'm talking about the time of Beis HaMikdash.
Also, it didn't change. So that's they brought the carbon Omer. That carbon Omer was brought on the first day Chalamoid. They started counting Sfiras Omer. What were we counting to? So the Pasuk says, they started counting from the carbon Omer. They counted 49 days. And then what happened? On the 50th day, what happened? Says the Pasuk, Adim Machos HaShabbos HaShvius Tisra Chamishim Yom V'kraftem Mincha Chadasha L'Hashem. What did you do on the 50th day? He brought the Mincha Chadasha L'Hashem. What does that mean? Shtei Alechem. Shtei Alechem brought on Shavuos. What did that do? The Shtei Alechem, even though we were allowed to eat the grain, the new grain that grew after last day Pesach from the Omer, but you weren't allowed to bring for a carbon yet, the new grain. The new grain you weren't allowed to bring for a carbon. When were you allowed to bring the new grain for a carbon? After they brought a Shtei Alechem on Shavuos. Then you're allowed to bring, for a carbon mincha, you're allowed to bring from the new grain. So Sfiras Omer, carbon Omer, was on the second day Pesach, first day Chalamoid, was when?
Was barley?
Was barley. We'll get to that in a second. The Omer was brought, the carbon Omer was brought on the second day Chalamoid, first day Chalamoid. That's when we were allowed to eat from the new grain. And then on Shavuos, we counted 49 days. Then you brought the carbon of Shavuos, the Shtei Alechem, and now you're allowed to eat, you're allowed to bring for a carbon from the new grain.
So there's no carbon, there's no price?
Well, that
period of time?
you could bring that from the old grain, not from the new grain. You have to have the old grain.
Was the carbon of Omer, was it like a carbon crowd, or was each individual person
No,
who
the-
has grain had to bring it?
No, carbon was one carbon.
It was
one carbon
grain.
for everybody.
Cohen would bring it as a symbol
Yes,
for
yes.
the entire
For
nation.
everybody, yes. Yeah. So, if you look in the Psukim, it says we count from the carbon Omer. That's when we are allowed to eat the new grain, and we count 49 days till the Mincha Chadasha, which is what? The carbon Shtei Alechem, when you're allowed to bring the carbonis from the new grain. What does that have to do with when we look at Sphira, we're counting Sphira from Yetzias Mitzrayim till Matan Torah. If you look in the Psukim, the Chayra has no shaychus. In the Psukim it says you count from the carbon Omer till the carbon Shtei Alechem, you count 49 days, and then you bring the Shtei Alechem, and that's it. So where does it come from that now we all say you're counting up to Matan Torah? So the truth is, if you look in the Rishonim already, the Chinuch, they say that the counting of the Omer is to count up to Matan Torah. That's what they say. Which is interesting. We're still calling it Sfiras Omer. And the reason why it's called Sfiras Omer is because it's counting from the carbon Omer. But still, it's a count up to Matan Torah. If you look at the Minchas Chinuch, it says, the Mishroshei HaMitzvah al Tzad HaPshat, Shekol Ikron Shal Yisrael Einay Ela HaTorah. The main thing of Klal Yisrael is the Torah. If you wouldn't have the Torah, then Klal Yisrael wouldn't be worth anything. We were taken out of Mitzrayim for what reason? In order to be able to go ahead and get the Torah. Taken out of Mitzrayim without taking the Torah wouldn't have been worth anything. So therefore, Mifnei HaTorah Nivru Shemayim Va'aretz, because of the Torah, the world was created. And he goes to the whole thing, the Chinuch over here, that Hashem told Moshe, Tavdim es Elokim al Har Hazeh by the sneh. The sneh was on Har Sinai. And Hashem told Moshe that I've taken them out of Mitzrayim al Tanai, that they'll Tavdim Elokim al Har Hazeh. So the whole Yetzias Mitzrayim was only in order to get to Matan Torah. And therefore the Chinuch says, Ubafnei Kain, ki hiya ikran shal Yisrael, avoida, nigalu v'elu l'chalagdu, v'elu l'stavu limnois v'machaz yavdu sh'pesach, ayem l'sinis ha'Torah, l'haretz b'nafsheinu, to show ha'chafetz ha'godel l'ayem ha'nichbad, how much we want and we're waiting for that great day. So it's really the Rishonim that say the reason why we count Svira is we left Mitzrayim, and now we're going to the great day of Kabbalah Torah. The Rishonim say it. Now, so why did we count from the second day Pesach? Why not the first day Pesach? Why don't we count from the first day of Pesach? Says the Minchas Chinuch, says the Chinuch later on, that the reason why we count from the second day of Pesach is because when do we leave Mitzrayim? At night. At night, Chatzos, right? That's when the Machas B'Choros start leaving. The next morning, you left Mitzrayim. So the truth is, we hadn't left Mitzrayim on the first day of Pesach. Huh?
Well, we had to wait till the daytime. We didn't want to run out.
Yeah, they ended up leaving in the morning. Machas B'Choros was Chatzos, they ate the Korban Pesach, then in the morning they ran out. They ended up leaving in the morning of Yom Tezvav. The first day of Pesach is when they left Mitzrayim. Says the Chinuch, so you can't count from the first, they hadn't left yet. That day, they hadn't left. They first, when were they out of Mitzrayim? The next day. There's a din, you have to count to Mimois. Full days. Right? You have to count full days. If you're going to count the first day of Pesach as one of your days of Sfiras Omer, what's going to happen is, you have a half a day. Because you're only allowed to start counting from by day. That's when they left Mitzrayim. You have half a day. Therefore, Sfiras Omer starts from the second day Pesach. That's when we're totally out of Mitzrayim. And he says, there's another reason over here, which is also a very geschmacked reason. He says, another reason why they started counting from the second day of Pesach, Ha'yom Rishon, Rosh of the Chinuch, Nisyached, Chuloi, La'askaras, Hanes, Hagadol, V'hu Yetzias Mitzrayim. One day we have to leave. This day is set aside to thank Hashem for a big nisan that happened in Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's the first day Pesach. After that, we can start counting the Omer. But the first day is set aside for thanking Hashem for Yetzias Mitzrayim. So and they said like this: Ve'ein loimer. So why do we call it Sfiras Omer? Why are we counting to the Omer? You're counting from the Omer. It happens to be that we left Mitzrayim the first day. The second day we could start counting. So start counting from the second day. Why are we saying Ha Yom Yom Echad Lo Omer? What does the Omer have to do with anything? So answers the Chinuch. He asked the question. Ve'ein loimer hayom kach v'kach yamim liyom sheni shel Pesach. What are you going to say? Today is 1 day from the second day Pesach. Today is 2 days from the second day Pesach. You can start counting that way. He says it's a funny way to count. You count today is the first day from Pesach when Pesach started.
The first day is the second day from the day we left Mitzrayim.
Yeah. Also, if it's the day from when we left Mitzrayim.
What about the Kabbalah Satar?
No, you go 2 Kabbalah Satar.
Yeah, right.
So you count it downwards. So the Chinuch does speak about it. He says every counting we count, when you know a big day is coming, so you start off counting with the higher numbers and you go down. How many days left till that day? So the Chinuch asked the question, why about Sfiras Omer is the opposite? So we count 1, 2, 3 from the Omer, we should count 49 days left till. He gets a terrorist, he says that if you can say so many days, it's going to be hard for people to live with it. There's so many days left about Torah. He's a terrorist. Believe it or not. But he says, therefore we picked Omer, we decided to pick a day. What's the day? The day is from the Omer, which is a specific day. We can start counting from that day. If you walk away from the Chinuch is mashma that the Omer has nothing to do with the counting. It happens to be a day, which is the second day of Pesach. You brought the Korban Omer, so I can count. It's 1 day from the Omer, 2 days from the Korban Omer. But the reason why we're counting is because we want to get the Matan Torah. That's why we're counting.
Does the Chinuch give a reason as to why the Pasuk actually frames it just with the Omer? With no,
He doesn't.
No clue.
He doesn't give a reason.
Uh-huh.
Chinuch doesn't give a reason. He says we pick a day that something happened on that day, and therefore you count.
Yeah, but the only link with Kabbalah Sator is the fact that the 50th day happens to land up on the 6th of Sivan.
Right.
And that's Kabbalah Sator.
Correct.
Otherwise, there will be no clue whatsoever.
Correct.
Kabbalah Sator.
And
That's the shaykhs.
And Achami, there wouldn't be any. We don't see anywhere in the Torah. The whole Yom Tov Shavuos even. Torah doesn't say anything about Matan Torah. And they speak about that. That's a whole different reason why. Because there's a reason why the Torah doesn't say anything about Matan Torah on Shavuos. Shavuos depends on the 50th day. Shavuos is not both different. It happens nowadays because we have the calendar. But in days of day, when we cast up a Re'iyah, Shavuos could have been either Hey, Vav, or Zayin. Any one of the 3 days.
So the question is better than the.
We'll get to different answer. One second. So the Chinuch says counting of the Omer, counting is in order to get to Kabbalah Satorah. That's why we count Sfiras Omer. Why is it called Sfiras Omer? Because it happens to be on that day is the Korban Omer was brought. Okay, that's a Chinuch sense. I once heard a beautiful pshat to answer this question from my Rebbe, the Omer Baruch Lichtenstein, and I'll share it with you. He said like this: if you look in the Psukim, in Parshas Re'eh, it says the 3 Yom Tovim: Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. So he was going with the Chinuch that, of course, Pesach, we count the Omer in order to get to Matan Torah. That's why we're counting. It's building up from Yetzias Mitzrayim. We're showing what the most important thing is in Kabbalah Torah. We build up. And he brought a raya. He says Pesach. If you look in Parshas Re'eh, he made 2 diukim in the Psukim. In Parshas Re'eh, if you look in the Psukim of the Parshi of the Yom Tovim, it starts off with Pesach. It says Shavuos, and then it says Sukkot. Between Pesach and Shavuos, there's a Samach. A Samach means a Parshas Stum. We've spoken about this before. There's 2 different types of breakups in the Parshas in the Torah. When there's a break in the Torah, either you can have a Samach or a Pei. A Samach means a Parshas Stuma, 9 letters between it. They get started on the same line. You finish one Parsha, you leave a break of 9 letters, and then you start the next Parsha. A Parsha Psucha means you finish a Parsha in the middle of a line, you cannot start the next Parsha on that line. You have to start the next Parsha on the next line. That's the chiluk between the Parsha Stuma and the Parsha Psucha. Psucha means it's open, Stuma means it's closed. Closed means it's a small hefsek, but it can be in the same line. Psucha is open, it starts on the next line. If you look between Pesach and Shavuos, there's a Parsha Stuma, not a Psucha. Between Shavuos and Sukkot, there's a Parsha Psucha. Why is that?
Because Pesach and Shavuos are connected.
Why is that? So he says because Pesach is not finished until we get to Shavuos. And that's the counting of the Omer. That's the Sfiras Omer. It's not finished until we get to Shavuos. And he brought a raya. In the Psukim of Yom Tov, of Shavuos, it says, V'samachta. It's the mitzvah of Simcha. In Sukkos, V'samachta b'chagecha. Simcha. By Pesach, it doesn't say a word about Simcha. We know that all Yom Tov you have to have Simcha. Why doesn't it say V'samachta by the Yom Tov of Pesach?
They're not happy with
Because
it.
it does already.
So he says because Pesach is not finished till Shavuos. It's one Yom Tov with Shavuos. V'samachta that says by Shavuos applies also to Pesach. He said there's a famous Ramban. The Ramban says, the famous Lashon Ramban, in this week's Parsha, the Ramban says that the days between Pesach and Shavuos are like Chol Hamoed. If it's like Chol Hamoed, so they're not going to say V'samachta the first days and the second days. So he says, by Shavuot says V'samachta, that V'samachta is going on Pesach also. It's one big Yom Tov. From Pesach to Shavuos is one big Yom Tov, and the counting is to get to Shavuos. And then it was most of another thing. So why Omer? Why is it called Sfiras Omer? So it said like this. The carbon Omer was brought from what? From So'irim, barley. And that gave us a heter to eat the new wheat, the new barley, the new grains, everything. On Shavuos, they brought a carbon of Shnei Alachem. What was that brought from? Wheat, not from barley. It was brought from wheat. And that was matir, that let us bring karbanis from the new grain. What's the difference between the carbon Omer, why it's So'irim, and the carbon on Shavuos that was brought from wheat? So he says in the Gemara we find all over that barley is Meichel Behema. Barley is food for animals. Wheat, in the Gemara constantly see, wheat is meant for people to eat. Today already, you don't find barley. You come out, don't find barley bread. Right? It's all wheat. Most bread is made out of wheat. So in the Gemara you find a lot all over that So'irim is a much lower level than chita, than wheat. So'irim is called Meichel Behema. So he said like this: we start counting the Omer. It wasn't just we picked the Omer. It's called Sfiras Omer. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. What's the first thing Hashem did to us? He made sure we had what to eat. He gave us the man. He gave us the drinks. He took care of our gashmias. Made sure we were settled. Then he brought us the Mount Torah and he took care of our ruchnias. And he gave us a Torah. So'irim, he brought the carbon Omer, was showing that that's Bahamias. That's not what we're here for. We're not here for the gashmias. That's why the Omer was brought as a carbon of So'irim. To show it's matter us to eat the tvur, the grain from that year, but that's only our gashmias, our Bahamias, which is not what we're here for. On Shavuos, we brought from wheat. Wheat, he says, is a much higher level. Some Rishonim say, in the Gemara it says, that it was the Eitz Hadas, was came from wheat, it was chita. That shows that now, karbonis amuta, which is Lashem, the food that the carbon that we brought, that we connected to Hashem, that was mutter on Shavuos, and that you had to bring from wheat. Because to show that it's not the Bahamias. This is a much higher level. We start counting Sfiras Omer. Came out of Pesach? Yes. Hashem took care of us, our Gashmias. We have to end up with Mincha Chadash al Hashem, which is the Ruchna. So it's not just a pick the date to count from Sfiras Omer. It's showing the difference. We start off maybe as behemoths. But we ended up being people when we got to Torah. So Sfiras Omer, he says, that's Sfiras Omer. We're counting how far away we're getting from the Omer, from the Gashmias, and how much closer we're getting to the Ruchnias, to Matan Torah. That's his try. Beautiful pshat. Whole beautiful pshat is Sfiras Omer. It's not just a pick the day of Sfiras Omer. That's it.
Do you have times the two off track, the Omer and Omer?
What's the reason for it?
The Omer and Omer.
What's the reason why we say it?
Yeah, what's the difference?
Why some
It's a question of Lashonis.
Oh.
Just a question of Lashonis. There's nothing more to it.
Oh.
There's nothing more to it. The question is what the correct way of pronouncing it is.
You have to stick to one.
Let's stick to one, yeah. The Mechaber passes one way, the Ramah passes the other way, and the Chassidim go to Mechaber for some reason, right? But the Sfardim sure go to Mechaber. But Ashkenazim usually would go to Ramah. Here it happens to be the Chassidim go with the Mechaber. But it's only difference in how it's not. I don't think there's anything more to it than the correct way of saying it. Omer Baruch. Fine. So that's that. Now I want to speak another topic of Sfiras Omer, which is we count Sfiras Omer. There's two parts to our counting. We start off counting the days. When we get to a week, we say now it's a day. It's 7 days, which is 1 week. 8 days, a week and a day. So where do we get this from? It's a pasuk really. The pasuk says in this week's parsha. Pasuk says First pasuk. What do you count? 7 weeks. Doesn't say anything about days. Ad imachras haShabbos haShviyos tisperu 50 yom. You count 50 days. So the Torah is two different mitzvahs in the Torah. There's one day you should count weeks. There's one day you should count days. So we count the weeks and we count the days. That's what we count. Now, the Chinuch already says, so if there's two different mitzvahs, days and the weeks, so it should be two separate mitzvahs. We make one bracha. We say Sfiras Omer, and we count days and weeks. Says the Chinuch, what do you mean? It's two separate mitzvahs. One is to count the days, and one is to count the weeks. You should say two brachas. One bracha on counting on the days, and one bracha on counting on the weeks. So the Chinuch has a whole thing, and he says that there's a lot of mitzvahs that we have, that even though in the Torah it's two mitzvahs, for example, Tefillin Shel Yad and Tefillin Shel Rosh. Right? Hoshai make two brachas and one bracha. Why do people make one bracha on it? Because it's really one mitzvah. There's two parts to that one mitzvah. So it says the same thing would be, most Rishonim hold that it's Sfiras Omer. The reason why we're not going to make two separate brachas is because there's two parts to one mitzvah. What's the two parts? One part is to count the days, and one part is to count the weeks.
That's why if you don't do both, you're not right there.
We'll get to if you don't do both. We'll get to the second one if you don't do both. So we're going to go now with the Chinuch. The Chinuch holds that it's one mitzvah with two parts, days and weeks. There's a Rebbeinu Yeruchim that says that they're two separate mitzvahs. He holds that counting the days is one mitzvah. You count Hayom Yom Echad V'Omer, Hayom Sheni Yom V'Omer. You count Hayom Shiva Yom V'Omer, and then you go Hayom Shavua Echad V'Omer, 1 week. And the Rebbeinu Yeruchim holds that the time to the Beis Hamikdash, where the Rebbeinu Yeruchim, there's a whole question if today Sfiras Omer is midaraisa or not. Why should it be? Why should Sfiras Omer not be midaraisa today? You have to count from the second day Pesach until Shavuos up to Matan Torah. Why should it not be? Most Rishonim hold it's not daraisa. Why? Because there's no Korban Omer. It says in the pasuk, right? So you see from over there that the Rishonim hold it's not a mitzvah a daraisa today. There's no Omer, so you see the Omer is a big part in the counting of Sfirah. The Chinuch wants to say that had we picked the day we pinned it to the Omer, from those Rishonim that hold that there's no Chiyuv D'Oraisa today to count Sfirah, there's no Korban Omer, you see that it's dependent in the Sfirah Omer on the Omer. There's another raya that the Omer is a very important role of what we count, not just counting towards Matan Torah. But, so that's what most Rishonim hold. The Rebbeinu Yeruchim says that there's two mitzvahs, and he says the mitzvah of counting weeks, that depends on the Omer. The mitzvah of counting days, that doesn't depend on the Omer. So Rebbeinu Yeruchim says like this: what do you count? That depends on the Omer. On new pasuk, the Titzvur Chamishim Yom does not say it by the Korban Omer. The Counting the Chadasha, right? Yeah, but he doesn't say it's totally in Chadasha.
Why do you have the carbon at the beginning?
Yeah, I hear.
Why do you have the carbon?
Okay, I hear the kasha. But the Rebbeinu Yeruchim says that the counting of the weeks is dependent on the Korban Omer. The counting of the days is not dependent on any Korban. Even you're right. The pasuk says the Mincha Chadash Hashem. That's what Ibn Yerucham says. If you look at the bottom of Minchas Chinuch, it brings Ibn Yerucham. And according to Ibn Yerucham, at times of the Beis HaMikdash, they had 2 brachas. They counted 1 days and 1 weeks. 2 separate brachas. But today, where there's no mitzvah to count the weeks, only the days according to the Ibn Yerucham, even though that's midaraisa, we make 1 bracha on both of them. And we yaitza. That's what Ibn Yerucham says. But most are trying to hold that today it's not the raisa at all, the counting, because everything is dependent in the carbon omer. We don't have a carbon omer, therefore it's no din of counting. Now, in halacha is brought down, the Mishnah brings down, which looks like a steer in the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah says like this: if someone's counting days, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, it comes to a week, right? And he counts the days. Today's 8 days. He doesn't count the weeks. Says the Mishnah Berurah, "From sipe yomam lechud, v'lahitzke shavuos, yesh oimim sheyatza b'di'eved, v'yesh oimim shetzarach lachzav v'lispa yomam v'shavuos." The question is, we just said there's 2 parts to the mitzvah: days and weeks. If someone counted the days, he didn't count the weeks. Is he yotze the mitzvah or not? Does he have to count over again? He brings a machlokes. But then he says, "V'mona shavuos v'lo yomim." If he counted just the weeks and not the days, you're not yotze. That means, you're right, it's 2 parts to the mitzvah, the days and the weeks. It seems like the Achronim learn that the days is the more important part of the mitzvah, let's call it. So if it didn't count the days, it only counted the weeks, and he didn't say, then you're not yotze. But if he just said Shiva Yomim, he didn't say Shavua Echad, then it's already machlokes if you're yotze or not. We count over again without a bracha. That's clear?
So I asked a question, Rabbi Isaac.
Yeah.
Let's say you pronounce the days wrong. Let's say Shnei Moser instead of Shnei Moser. Is that a problem?
No problem. If you count the English, you're yotze also.
Sorry?
If you count the English, you're yotze also.
Right.
You say 12, you're yotze.
I'm saying, isn't Shnei Moser and Shnei Moser different?
Everyone knows what you mean. As long as you know what you mean, you're yotze the
As
mitzvah.
long as you know.
As long as people know what you mean, as long as they're commonly used words. If you count something that's not commonly used,
It's
you're
not
right.
like Kriya. Kriya, you have to be perfect. This is not
No,
Kriya.
I thought it had
Kriya is
different meanings.
numbers.
Didn't
I'll
realize.
tell you even more. We're not going to have time to speak about this, but there's a lot of rayas that Sfiras Omer is not the counting, the actual saying of the numbers. It's the outcome of it that you know where you're holding. There's common rayas about that, and one of the rayas is if the inyan is to count Sfira, the saying is just the saying is a mitzvah. We know Kol Torah Kula, every time the mitzvah is a dibur, the speaking, you can be moed to somebody else. Kiddush, Megillah, Leining, everything you can, brachas, everything you can moed to, one person can moed to somebody else. Masha'en came by Sfiras Omer, one person cannot be moed to the other person in Sfiras Omer. You can't be moed to. In the bracha maybe yeah, but in the actual counting, I can say, you listen to me and I'll be moed to you with the counting. It doesn't work, why not? Why does it work? Always Kriya works with those someone being moed to his chaver.
Because it's lachem.
Even it's Farta Lachem.
Lachem means
No, each person has a chiv to count instead of Beth and counting for everybody. Each person has a chiv for a kiddush also.
You have to prepare for Matan Torah.
Well,
Everybody has to prepare for
I hear. Okay, that's most of the Gemara. But in halacha, you can't be moed to somebody else with Sfiras Omer.
With the bracha you can.
The bracha you could. The Sfiras Omer itself you can't.
The bracha you can't.
Even though it's Lachem. Lachem means everyone has to do it. Like Kiddush. Everyone has a chiv to make Kiddush themselves. It's also Lachem, the same Lachem. The Sfart of Lachem is common to be Rafuke to exclude that not only Bezdin has to count and not each Yochid. So now each Yochid has to count. Each Yochid has to make Kiddush. I can still be moed to you with Kiddush. So why can't I be moed to you with counting? And the answer is because it's not a Kriya, it's not a reading, it's not just saying it. It's you have to know where you're holding. Each person himself has to come out where he's holding. You can't be moed to me with where I'm holding. I have to know where I'm holding in the Sfira. If it's a Kriya Ba'alma, then you can be moed to one person to the next. So you see, it's not the Kriya, it's not so much the Kriya of the Sfira.
I think the Rebbe said last year also that there was another right for the same idea, that why don't we count with the Sveika Diyoma?
Yeah.
I think when you say
Right, because it's not called accounting.
You can't, like, it wouldn't be accounting.
wouldn't be accounting,
You were saying
right.
It might be this day. You have to know where you are.
You have to know what you're holding, because if that's the Dvar Avram. If you everything has Sfeika D'Yema. Why doesn't Sfeira have a Sfeika D'Yema? We're counting Sfeira second day Pesach. We're keeping Yom Tov, and we're supposed to be Chol Hamoed. You should count. Either it's 1 day, and the next day it's 1 or 2 days. The answer is because you have to know what you're holding. You have to count and know what you're holding. If you don't know what you're holding, it's not called accounting.
What does that mean? You have to know where you're holding. In other words, the concept of
Yes,
the number?
you have to know-
You have to understand
Correct.
the concept.
You have to understand the concept. There's another halacha. There's a lot of rise. There's another halacha that everything else, Kriya Shema, laning. If you don't know what you're saying, if you're saying a Lashon HaKodesh, you're Yotza. Spheres to Omer, if you're saying a Lashon HaKodesh, you have no idea what you're saying, you're not Yotza. Why not? I said it. Why am I not Yotza? The answer is because it's not the saying, it's the knowing. You said it, now you know where you're holding. I have to know myself. I have to be the one to tell myself where I'm holding. Therefore, exactly how you count it, you say, there's less of a reason to be medayik in the number that's Spheres Omer than by Kriyas HaTorah.
So you're saying if you don't know if it's the 14th day, you just know the Hebrew, you're not Yotza.
Correct. If someone counts Abbas, doesn't know what it means, he's not Yotza. Even though he knows he's saying 14 days, if he doesn't understand the words, he's not Yotza. So it's Spheres Omer, you can't count that way. Because it's not the Kriya, it's the knowing where you're holding. So, we have a tri-track here. So where are we holding here? Oh, so the Mishnah Berurah says that if you counted the weeks, he said Hayom is the the first week of the Omer Shvu Echad, he didn't say 7 days, you're not Yotza. The Mishnah Berurah a few lines later says, V'chein, Im lo Omer Ella, Hayom Shvu Echad, V'yom Echad L'chud, Nami Yotza, Yotza. Say Shvu Echad V'yom Echad Yotza. You already said the days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yotza. Got to steer here. You just said on the 7th day you say Yom Shvu Echad. You're not Yotza. You didn't say the days. Hayom Shvu Echad V'yom Echad Yotza. You didn't say the days. It says 8 days to the Omer. All you said was the weeks. Why are you Yotza? It's a big steer in the Mishnah Berurah here. Anybody have a teretz?
Shvu Echad and Yom Echad is
You're still counting a day.
It's 8. It is 8. The bottom line is
It is 8, but if you count Shvu Echad, it's 7. You're not Yotza.
You count the days of the week.
Shvu Echad V'yom Echad.
And the day of the next week. 1 day to the next week.
Yeah, but I didn't say 8 days.
You still
1
mention
day.
a day.
You said a
So
day.
what do you gain by mentioning a day? Today's not Yom Echad. Shvu Echad V'yom Echad. You didn't count the days,
You counted a day. You
Which-
counted a 1 day, 1 week, and you counted 1 day.
but it's 8th day.
you mentioned the
yeah,
word
okay,
day.
but you
So
don't
what do you gain by mentioning the word day? So you mentioned the word day, therefore what?
number of days towards the next week of the
That's weeks. You didn't count days. You didn't count days. You have to count days. Where did you count the days? It's a kasha. It's a steer in the Mishnah Berurah. The Chayim asked the kasha.
Doesn't he say himself, he just read that you already did count the days up until then?
Yeah, so what does that help you? So I counted the days up until then, therefore what?
Right.
Today I counted Shvu Echad V'yom Echad. I'm counting the weeks. I'm not counting the days.
It's okay.
And it's
like
good.
saying on the 8th day, you can't say today is 2 times 4 days.
Could you say that?
It's dumb enough.
Oh.
Because you're not counting 8 days.
Okay. So that's a question.
Because this is all bizarre, no? To say 1 week or 1 day, you have to do a calculation. You take up the
If I do
calculator
it-
and say 7
Well,
days.
everybody knows.
Let's say you say it's good. And that's why Shvu Echad V'yom Echad is good. So if I say Shvu Echad, they make the calculation also.
That's for sure not.
And that's not good. Let's say, which is a question in the Rishonim, in the Achronim. If someone says today is 4 plus 2, are you Yotza or not?
Be fine.
So some Achronim might say Yotza. It's 4 plus 2 is 6. That's how you say it. You know, today's 6. So if I say Shavua Echad V'yom Echad, I said today's 8, a week and a day. But the question, if that's true, why when you counted Shavua Echad a day earlier, and you didn't say 7, you're not Yotza? So I'm going to tell you a teretz, and I want you to think about it. Teretz is like this: when the mitzvah, we said there's 2 mitzvahs. One mitzvah is to count the days, and one mitzvah is to count the weeks. What's the mitzvah of counting the weeks? You start off today is 1 day into the week. And today's no. At the end of the week, you say Yom Shvu Echad. You finished a week. You're up to the 8th day. Let's say there would be a mitzvah only to count the weeks. Would you say Yom Shvu Echad V'yom Echad? Yom Shvu Echad V'shnei Yomim? Or no? At the end of the 2nd week, we get up and say Shnei Shavuos. At The end of the third week is Shalosh Shavuos.
So you only count once a week?
Once a week you would count. You count the weeks. When you count the days, how are you counting the days? Today is 1, 2. You don't say today is 1 and 1 hour. And today is 1 and 5 hours. In the middle of the day, you're not going to count where you're holding. Right? In the middle of the day, you just count every day, 1 day. That day finishes, 2 days, 3 days. Today is 1 day and a half a day in the morning. You don't do that. So if the mitzvah would be to count the weeks, what would the mitzvah be? Well, that would be that mitzvah of counting the weeks. What is that mitzvah? That mitzvah is at the end of the week, Hayem Shavuot Echad. The next week, Hayem Shnei Shavuos. Shalosh Shavuos L'Omer. But in the middle of the week, you wouldn't count. No reason to count in the middle of the week. So therefore, Mishnah Berurah is saying, if someone says Hayem Shavuot Echad L'Omer, he just counted the weeks. He didn't count the days. He only counted the weeks. He can make a calculation of 7. No, I counted a week. The next night, when he's saying Hayem Shavuot Echad V'Yom Echad L'Omer, what's he counting? He's counting the weeks? No, it's the middle of the week. What are you doing counting the middle of the week? What's he doing? He's basically counting the days, but he's adding it up. Says the Mishnah Berurah, if you say Shavuot Echad V'Yom Echad, it's considered that you're counting the days.
You didn't kill Misa on the 8th night. Why don't you just say Hem Shmoni Yom L'Omer? Period.
Good question. A very good question. I was going to get to that. That's the next part. So we'll get that in a second. So the Mishnah Berurah says, so if you count Shavuot Echad V'Yom Echad, you're Yaitza. Why? Because now you're counting days. You're not counting weeks. In the middle of the week, you don't count weeks. That would be a raya to say that if someone says today is 4 plus 2, he's Yaitza. Shavuot Echad V'Yom Echad is basically saying it's 8 days. You're counting the days. That could be an answer to the Mishnah Berurah. I'm not saying everybody agrees to what I'm saying, but I think it's a beautiful terrace, and I think it's true.
So you count the days and the weeks in the same utterance.
You're not counting the weeks. Shavuot Echad V'Yom Echad, you're not counting the weeks. What are you doing counting the weeks in the middle of the week?
Yeah, but we count the weeks every day. We say
Yes, that's the question why. Forget that was the question. The question is why. So when someone says Shavuot Echad or Shnei Yomim, that's not really a counting of the weeks. That's really a counting of the days. So therefore, Mishnah Berurah says, you're Yaitza. You said the days in a funny way, but you're Yaitza. But the obvious question is if that's the case, so why b'chalal are you saying in the middle of the week, Shavuot Echad or Shnei Yomim? Say Yom Shmoni Yomim, Yom Tisha Yomim. If you're counting the week in middle is not for the week, so why are you saying it at all for?
Just to remember,
So the Minchas Chinuch,
not to get off track.
the Chinuch asks this question. Basically, and I'm coming, this shot that I'm telling you, I'm coming from the Chinuch. It says like this. He's being a raya that it's all one big mitzvah, not 2 separate mitzvahs. And his raya is because if it would be 2 separate mitzvahs, I would count the days, I would count the weeks, and I would not count the weeks in middle by saying Hayem Shavuot Echad V'Yom Echad. You wouldn't say it. So there's nothing. Separate mitzvah. If there's 2 separate mitzvahs, you wouldn't confuse the 2 mitzvahs. You would count Hayem Yom Echad V'Yom, so 7, Shiva Yomim, Shavuot Echad. Then you go Shmoni Yomim, 9, 10. By 14 you would say 14 and 2 weeks.
Why not?
That's what you
I would do it.
If it's
Just
2
to
separate,
remember.
it says it's 2 separate mitzvahs. It says I read you inside. V'Omer Hayishtei mitzvahs ilu Omer Minya Hayom mitzvahs Minya Shavuos mitzvah. Ze ma shalnei mitzvah yachad. V'Raya hamuvaeret al zeh. The raya that's 1 mitzvah and it's not 2 mitzvahs. Says the Chinuch. We count the weeks every night. If the weeks will be its own mitzvah, we would have only said the weeks at the end of the week. We would never mention the week in the middle of the week. And a separate mitzvah. Our mitzvah here is Sfiris HaYomim V'Shavu Oisav. It's the days and the weeks, and therefore I could add in the middle of the week Shavuot Echad V'Yom Echad. That's what he says. I think what it means to say is that if it would be just the Shavuos and the Yom separately, the weeks would count and the days we would count. The fact that I'm mixing them together, in the middle of the week I'm counting the week and its days, it's a raya that it's one mitzvah, and I can count Shavuot Echad L'Shnei Yomim, even though it's not Yomim and it's not Shavuos, but I can add the Shavuos into the Yomim by saying weeks and days. That's what he says. You see from over here that the mitzvah is not, the mitzvah wouldn't be to count the middle of the week, the weeks. That could be a terrorist to the Mishnah Berurah, still in the Mishnah Berurah. But come out that you're right. You know, there's the main mitzvah. So the main mitzvah would be to count days at the end of the week. Every week it's week. In the middle of the week to say Shavuot Echad L'Shnei Yomim is just he calls it a lashon of extra words ba'alma. That's what he calls it.
So you could make up funny ways to count Sphira, like on the 12th day you could say today.
So according to this, according to the right from the Mishnah Berurah, that we say a week and a day, the Yotza, because there has to be, it's a way of saying the day. It would be right, they could say a funny way of just saying the day. So today is 14 plus 2 days. And you'll be Yotza.
But you certainly be to say today is 16 days, period.
Correct. According to this, if someone just says 16 days,
According to who would you not be
because the Mishnah Berurah says, the Mishnah Berurah does say, we spoke at the first part, he said if someone counts the days without the weeks, the shayla for Yetzer or not. What did he say it on? 7th day. He wouldn't say it on the 8th day. We also know the big nafkamina. And Mishnah Berurah says over here, what does he mean? On the 7th day. 7th day or the 14th day. On the 8th day, if someone counted just the days, the Mishnah Berurah wouldn't say, according to this at least, that you have to count over again. And then you answer the Chul Yama.
Rabbi Tain never